Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the product training call. My name is AJ Willoughby. So glad to have you all with us tonight. I'll tell you, we have got some great information for you that we kind of introduced a little bit last week, some of this information, with it being flu season and all the bugs and germs that are out there. And people are trying to figure out, man, what do I do? How do I keep from being sick? What happens when I get sick? What do I need to do? What products should I be taking? And how does this affect me? How is it working in my body? Well, you know what? We have got the man that's got all the answers of that and how to help you out and what it is you should be doing about it. This is a gentleman who we love and who has been on this call since we've been getting things going here and with M Network. He is the head of the Scientific Advisory Board for M Network, and he is the world's foremost authority on the mangosteen fruit and also so many other botanicals and nutrients. And a good friend of mine, Dr. Fred Tippleman. Dr. Tippleman, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, AJ. Thank you.
So glad to have you on. Tell you what, let's just go ahead and get right into it.
Sure.
Going into let's talk about the subject at hand.
Okay. Well, as you may know, just in revisioning of this, because you may already have heard it on the national news or on the local news, that the flu, which is a very infectious sort of viral infection, can be picked up not only by air droplets, but also by touch, or somebody with the flu having touched their respiratory system in the form of the mouth or the hands or the nose. They could, well, the hands are not part of the respiratory system, but with the hands or the touching the mouth or the nose, they could have transposed something that was on their hand called a fomite. And a fomite means a dust particle or something else to which a virus attaches. Now, remember, we're talking about things that are very, very small. You can't see them with the naked eye. And I was explaining that about 60% of the transmission of the flu from person to person comes from touching each other's hands. So shaking hands, doing things like that, wrestling around, kissing, hugging, doing all of the fun things is really dangerous during the flu season. You know you have the flu really only when it is full blown, but you get an indication that you may have been infected with the flu because you develop a kind of something which we call in medicine malaise. And malaise is a French word that simply means you don't feel good, but we translate it to look after the kind of tenderness and feeling in your back muscles, usually, that let you know that, quote, you're coming down with something. So you may know that. And I would suggest that if you get into that situation, or if you're past that, and you're now sniffling and you've got some discharge from your nose, then be very careful about your contact with your loved ones because you can spread that rapidly. Now, there is not only the flu out there. There are many other things. And I thought I'd spend about 2 or 3 minutes on a very basic level because I said last week it would have been best that you should have been taking the immune boosters for about 2 weeks in order to see the full effect on your immune system. And some people called me and said, well, what's the incubation period of the flu? Are you talking about the incubation period of the flu? And I really wasn't referring to that because the viral infections have incubation periods that can run from hours up to days. But the fact is, I just want to go over infections in general. Think of all of the infecting organisms which can cause problems in your body as parasites because they're trying to gain access to your body to eat and to reproduce, and therefore to prolong their life cycle and to let their progenitor out into the community, their offspring out into the community. So viruses are the smallest, well, prions actually, which cause mad cow disease, but we won't worry about that. But those are the smallest of the infected particles. And after them come the viruses. And then after the viruses come the bacteria. And then after the bacteria come the funguses. And after the funguses come the parasites. And parasites are usually worms. They don't have to be, but they're usually worms, and they can range in size from an eyelash, and most parents have found those worms in their children. But they can also be very large. I remember before I was a doctor, one of my kids came running to me because something was trying to get out of its nose. And when I pulled it out, it was a 7-inch worm called the scarus. So you can have some pretty scary events with those parasites. But all of these things are trying to gain entrance to your body in order to feed, to reproduce, and to spread themselves throughout the community. And you become the vector or the thing that carries the disease from yourself to another person. Sometimes mosquitoes are vectors, and they can carry viruses like the dengue fever, or they can carry parasites like malaria. But here the vector is a human, one human connecting with another human. So we're in the worst season we've had for the flu in 20 years. The Australians had the same flu during their winter time, which was just in the last few months. And they used the same vaccine that we have, and unfortunately was only about 10% effective. So you're not going to get good enough protection from simply taking the flu shot. You need to be sure that you're eating properly and that you are supplementing with the kinds of elements that the body uses to build up the immune system. And that's what I was getting at when I was talking about the core. Now, we cannot make claims about any of our products with regard to diseases. So I'm not going to tell you, nor would it be correct if I did, that if you take the core, you're not going to get the flu or you will not have colds, et cetera, et cetera. What I am authorized to do is say that the things which are contained in the core product, and this is a large number of antioxidants, and the mangosteen. Now, I leave the mangosteen a little bit separate because it's a whole lot more than an antioxidant. But all of the others are antioxidants, and antioxidants which have been tested in trials in laboratories to see whether it will have an effect on the immune system of animals sometimes, and in other experiments on humans. And because of that testing, the government allows us to say that our product will support a healthy immune system. Now, specifically, how does it support it? There are white blood cells which are in the immune system, and they are varied in their size, their appearance, and in their functions. Some white blood cells are principally responsible, lymphocytes, for dealing with flus and viruses. Others are responsible principally for dealing with bacteria, and these are called polymorphonucleocytes or neutrophils. The action of the white cells with regard to fungus and to bacteria is to sometimes engulf them. There's a large white cell, which is called a macrophage, which simply means in Latin a big eater, and they move through your blood system, and when they come upon an invader of any kind, they sort of roll right over it, pull it inside, and digest it to its constituent parts, and then spit those parts out afterwards. So the macrophages, the neutrophils, the eosinophils, which are primarily responsible for allergic reactions, basophils involved in allergic reactions, and these white cells, these clones of white cells, all of which, by the way, are principally made in the bone marrow, require adequate amounts of a large number of nutrients that in most people's diets are in low supply. Therefore, we start to think about supplementing with what they require. Now, you need to know that when you supplement with the elements that are in the core, these antioxidants, that they do many things that are beneficial in the body. They not only help detoxify things through the liver, they do not only soak up free radicals, which are damaging charged particles produced from metabolism and from pollution, but they also are responsible for pumping up the numbers, literally, of the white cells that are going to defend you against bacteria, fungi, and viruses. And the adaptive immune system, because there are two kinds of the immune system, it's divided in half. And one is called the innate immune system, and that's the one that principally looks after bacteria, and it looks after them after contact. If you run a splinter into your finger, for example, and there are bacteria on it, as there certainly would be, those bacteria are going to be picked up by the body, and they're going to be acting right at the site of the puncture immediately, the neutrophils, so that when you get pus around a little area that has, where the skin has been breached and something that shouldn't be there is there, you will get this white cell deposition along with the side effects, if you wish, of the destruction of the bacteria, and you end up with pus. Most of that pus is made up of a white blood cell called a neutrophil, principally responsible for looking after bacteria. But viruses are a little bit different. The bacteria generally live in between the cells. They are too big to be inside the cells, with few exceptions, and they live out in the space between our cells. And they break down cells, and they digest cells, and they steal from nutrients from cells, but they themselves are outside. But the viruses are very, very small, and they go inside the cells. And then they hijack the machinery of the cell by kind of going to the control room of the cell and substituting their own plans for the things that the cell has been making, and switches them so that they've hijacked it, and now the cell just makes viruses and its own cell and deficient that it would infect other cells. But the lymphocytes, the white blood cell clone, which is responsible largely for eradicating viral infections, takes a little while to sort of pump itself up, because it has to go and attach to the virus, identify it, come back, carry a message to another type of white cell called a B cell, and that B lymphocyte will go to the area of the infection, and it will begin to manufacture perfect little lock and keys for the bacteria, for the virus, so that it hits out, it produces things called antibodies, which are then discharged in the area of the antigen, or the thing which is causing a problem in the illustration I'm using now, a virus. And that virus has a very specific form. And the antibody is manufactured and produced, and it goes out and it sticks right on that virus so that other white cells can come by and destroy it. But it also inactivates the virus as soon as there is an antibody attached to it. It can no longer go inside cells. So that's how the body works. And some of the antioxidants in the core product have been shown to increase the killer cells, the T killer cells, which are a type of lymphocyte, to enhance, those are called natural killer cells, NK cells, and to enhance the number of neutrophils, etc., so that they are not just all going to work on one area of the immune system, but the elements which they bring to the immune system allows the immune system to pump itself up and to be ready and to be actively, hopefully, preventing infection before it becomes clinical enough that you come down with the symptoms. That, in the case of some viruses, takes days to do, which is why I was saying it would be ideal that everybody should have these immune supporting elements on board for at least 2 weeks before they were in the middle of the fight. But we don't have that luxury if you haven't been taking it. If you have, you're going to be in a better position. But if you haven't been taking it, then it will take a few days, if not a week or two, of taking it twice a day to be able to build up the supply of the nutrients that the immune system is going to require to stay on high alert and hopefully to become more efficient in dealing with the viruses and the bacteria that are present. Now, some of you have undoubtedly had the experience this year of having muscle aches, of having maybe a runny nose or sneezing and just not feeling well, and you thought you had the flu, and you've gone to the walk-in clinic and you had the swab done, and it comes back and says, no, you don't have the flu. Well, that doesn't mean you're not sick. It doesn't mean you don't have a virus. You may have a para-influenza virus, which is capable of producing virtually the same set of problems for a human being as the actual flu virus. You may have a rotavirus or another one which is associated with the common cold. They all make you feel like your back has been beaten. You are coughing, sniffling, you've got discharge from your nose, because remember, they're provoking that discharge. They want you to sneeze. They want you to cough. Because when you're in a room with somebody who has the flu, you don't have to be sitting in the chair with them to catch the flu. When someone coughs, there are droplets that come out of their mouth if they haven't covered their mouth. And those droplets can go up to a foot or two away from the person and they're absolutely full of viruses. Or there is an aerosol. And you know how far an aerosol can go. We used the comparison last week with the perfume section of the store. You can smell that 100 yards away. And that are the aerosols that are principally responsible, along with touch, for spreading the flu. So as we go into this flu season, or as we are in this flu season, which may indeed be longer than it was expected to be because it started early this year and it's virulent, make sure that you're taking your core at least twice a day. Now imagine some of you listened to me last week because the sales on core went whoom as a result of our meeting with folks and talking about them. And by the way, the product which we currently have is the absolute best on the market, and it will always be that way, because we're going to change continually in the sense of improvement with M, and we'll never be in the same spot that we were the day before. But you will always have the very best products in your hand, even though we may be developing new twists and turns that will make things more effective in the future. Improvement is the only constant. So there we have it. I'm talking principally to the idea of the flu. Doesn't mean the other products don't work or help you as well. There are antioxidants in most of them. But this is the one that we have laid out there as the antioxidant preparation that people should be using when they're seeking an antioxidant effect overall, whether they're seeking to detoxify with the liver, whether they're seeking to lose weight and end up getting rid of all the toxins that were stored in the fat, because that's where the body does store the toxins. And when you lose that fat, those toxins are liberated and need to be removed from the body. So whatever the reason is that you're using your product, make sure that you take it regularly, make sure that you take it twice a day, make sure that for the benefit of all of the things that are in the mangosteen, that you have a little bit of food in your stomach when you do take it. And that's Dr. Templeman, and that's this week's blurb.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Templeman. You know, we have this product is such an amazing product with the CoreAO. And in fact, it's so amazing. I know there's a lot of things. A lot of people compare it, you know, they say it's a mangosteen product. Oh, I've got a mangosteen product over here. I've got something I've tried here in the past where I was with this company. But like you said, there is nothing that is as strong and as powerful as what we have of anything that's on the market or has been on the market.
That's correct.
At all. In fact, one of our sticks is, as far as the
Careful.
I'm being careful. I'm just saying.
You're absolutely right. There is no hesitation on my part to tell everybody who is purchasing the M products that they are all the best that you can find on the marketplace there. And with respect to the mangosteen product, the major mangosteen product, which is the core, there isn't anything that holds a candle to it. Now, I don't want people to start jumping up and down and throwing chairs if they belong to another company. But the fact of the matter is, we got you beat. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's what is so awesome right now is currently there is a special running right now that just started this week where you can go online and you can purchase 3 boxes for the price of 2.
A real deal.
Yeah, it really, really is. So, and that works if you're from a member standpoint or if you're doing it from a retail standpoint. You can get 3 boxes for the price of 2. So you get 1 box totally free when you buy 2 boxes, and you get the 3rd one for free. So you'll want to go in.
How does that work with people who are on the blue box? If they have 2 ordinary products that they're ordering, and they wanted to say because of the winter time and things, they wanted to switch that to Core. If they order 2, do they get the 3rd one automatically?
If they're on blue box,
yeah.
You know what? I know how to get that question answered right away because there's someone that is on that can probably answer that. Let me unmute him real quick. Dave, are you there?
I am here.
You are there. All right. So, do you want me to turn your video on or not?
No, sir.
Okay. So.
All right. I don't mind. I don't mind.
Nobody needs.
Did you hear the question?
I did not hear the question. I apologize.
So on a blue box, if someone has a blue box coming and they've already got 2 boxes of Core, do they automatically get a 3rd one for free? How do they do that?
No, sir. It's a you got to use that specific SKU, that specific item number is, I got to look over the camera, don't I? That is what will enact the special.
All right.
So you could call in and say,
watch it, Fred, watch it. I know where you're going.
Okay, I won't say anything, Dave. You're the boss.
If people can figure it out for themselves, God bless them. And if things are just going to run like they're going to run, God bless them too.
Okay.
So
you've got the word with the bark on it.
So go get your Core. Make sure that you got everything stocked up to get through the flu season because you do not want to be without it. Especially something else that we learned last week that you were talking about is that the flu virus shot is only 10% effective.
It was only 10% in Australia. We don't know yet.
But it's the same. It's the same one. We're using the same one here in the States, correct?
It was the same flu and the same. Unless the Aussies have got something different in their systems, it isn't going to do the job this year.
Yeah, exactly. So going ahead, make sure that you've got yourself set up so that you're really down in that Core. Again, you want to be taking at least 2 a day minimum to be really giving your body really the most powerful, most effective to be able to fight it off.
And always with a bit of food.
And always with food. Yeah. All right. Great. So I don't take mine with food, but
a couple of peanuts is enough for food, just a few nuts that have the oil in them to help with those elements in the mangosteen that are only fat soluble.
So I got another question here that just came, and that is, how long will the Core hold its efficacy after it's been mixed with water? Does it need to be drank right away?
No, not at all. And it would probably be good in my mind until 48 hours, as long as you haven't sort of backwashed into it when you drank it.
All right. Great. So if I go mix, 4 or 5 sticks all up together at once and put it in a pitcher and put it in the refrigerator and
it should be good for several days if you're going to just keep it and pour out of the pitcher. There shouldn't be a problem.
Great. Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Templeman. And we appreciate it. And we're going to keep things going. And next week, we'll be back the same time, same place.
I will be in Thailand, in warm Thailand. And I'll be up in the middle of the night to do this.
Absolutely. So the recording of this is going to be available. Give us an hour or so and we'll have the recording up. and you can get that, and we'll let you know about it. Thank you all so much. And let's see, there was one more. Let's see. Question? Nope, I think we're good.
Okay.
And, all right. Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Dr. Templin.